be navigating on how to fork a repository and how you will be doing your submissions on GitHub for the assignments. So firstly, navigate to Professor Brown's repository or the main GitHub page. Then click on repositories. Since the course is program structure and algorithm, we'll be working on info underscore 6205 program structures and algorithm. Click on it. Click on the fork button and then uncheck this. So you need two branches as well, and then click on create fork. Now creating a fork is like creating your copy of the repository and we're working on it, and then we'll create pull request where I can see what changes you have made to a specific file. So you can see there are two branches here, the main and the students. You're not supposed to make any changes on the main branch. All the things that you do are supposed to be on the students branch. So once you have created your fork, you can see the repository name and you can see fork from the source. Now to start working on it, click on the code and then create a clone for it. I'll show you how to do it. I have created a folder called PSA. I'll open it on the terminal. The very first command that you'll use is git clone. Now git clone creates a copy of the remote repository onto your local system. Just write git clone and then paste the command, paste the link for the repository. You see that a copy of your repository has been created. Now let's check how many branches do you have. To check the branches, you write git branch minus a. You first have to cd. So you can cd or you can open the terminal here again. See if you see git branch minus a. You can see there are two repositories, main and student, and it is currently pointing to main. Now you have to check out the student branch. To do that, just write git check out students. And now if you see git branch all, you can see you are now pointed to students. Now the thing you have to do is create a folder in submission. There's already a folder called uh, NU first name last name, which shows you how the ideal the setting is. Uh, Now create a new folder called my first name. I'll create a folder with my name, Pranav underscore Kulkarni underscore 00297917. I'll now open it through VS Code. You'll add your Jupyter notebook here. So you'll open it through VS Code and add. You have to add all your Jupyter notebooks here. So I'll navigate to desktop, PSA, open. You can see I have created a folder here. You can also, the great thing about using VS Code is that you can see the branches that you're on here. So there are two branches with IDs and you can see where the head is pointed to and all that Git jargons on VS Code itself. So it depends on you however you're comfortable. I'm comfortable using GitHub Desktop. I'll show you how to use it. But you can explore other forms as well. If you go on to an industry where your team is using a different uh, system to log their commits to Git, if you know the basics of Git, I think you can navigate through any of the uh, portals or any of the platforms pretty easily. So we created a folder. Now for every assignment, you have to submit a Jupyter notebook. So we'll make a sample Jupyter notebook called assignment one. So for every assignment, you have to submit a Jupyter notebook. If you don't know how to set up a Jupyter notebook in VS Code or in general, you can join the TRs and I'll let you know how to do it. For now, let's create uh, a Jupyter notebook and add a markdown called assignment 1. This is the assignment 1. We create it. Let's save it. Mm, you can see. And for every assignment, you have to add a README file. Assignment 1 dot README. I create a README file. You can add anything. Write a summary of whatever stuff you do in your assignment here. So, for instance, I'll write this is my summary for assignment 1. I'll save it. All the work now has been done. Now we have to commit it to a repository. So if you navigate to your own copy of the repository and go into submissions, you'll not see your folders. See, there are only two folders: NUID first name, last name, and the sample. The folder that we created right now is absent there. So what you do is you open GitHub Desktop. It depends on how you navigate through it. You click on Add and Position Repository. We go to Desktop. We click on this. We click on Open. We click on Add Repository. You can see all the changes that we've made here. This is your Jupyter notebook. This is your assignment. You're currently on the branch student. I've added on how you have to commit a particular file. So there is a format. There's your first name, last name, and then underscore, and then at the end you have to mention your NUID. For now, I'll read my commit and add any description. If you add any description you want, you can add your summary here to a shorter form of summary, and then click commit to students and then click on push. So this is you making changes and committing it to your local repository, and you when you click on push, the local changes then go to your remote repository. So when you go to, and now when I'll refresh this page, you can see the folder that we created here, the two things, the two files that we created. Now go to code. You can see here comes compare and create a pull request. The same thing, just uh, instead of my commit, you'll have to write uh, whatever changes you make or your NUID here, your NUID, first name, last name, and your NUID here, and a brief summary of what all changes you made here in the comment section, and then you can create a pull request. Once you create a pull request, the contributors can check whatever changes you make. So, for instance, if I go to the original repository and navigate to the student repository, I can see a pull request here, right? Everyone who is a contributor can see whatever pull request you have created. I can navigate to file change and check whatever changes to the files that you have made, and then I'll either approve or reject the changes if the format of the commit is not proper. This is how you submit your assignments, and you have this is how you put up your work on GitHub. This is a basic structure of how usually parallel development takes place in an industry. So here what you do is if you are a staff developer or a junior developer, you do your commits and then create a pull request, and there is a peer review. So you and another peer of you will sit with you and discuss what changes you have to make. So if you can defend your changes, the changes get merged into the main repository. If you cannot, and if your peer tells you a better way of doing stuff, the request gets closed and then you have to implement the changes. So this is what I am trying to imitate so that you get a flavor of what really happens in an industry. If you have any other difficulty other than this, do join the TARs, do reach me out and I can help you in any way I can. Thank you.